The 2020 census. I've been talking about this for a while. Here it is. This is pulled straight off of the information highway, aka the internet. Public data here. Look at this. Now, listen, guys. 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times. Whether that distress be the physical condition of the property, whether the properties be vacant, whether there be some financial distress by the property owner, right? Whether they can't make their mortgage payments or they've got some liens on the properties that are really just like putting a lot of pressure on that property owner, whether they aren't paying their property taxes. There's so many deals, guys, right here in black and white, right here. This is in the thousands. Let me make this very clear. Add 3 zeros to all of these numbers, not the percentages, obviously, but of the actual numbers here. There's 141 million properties, housing units, 141 million, not 141,000, as you see up here in that top corner there. 141 million properties. Go down 1, 2, 3, 4 lines where it says vacant properties. 15 million. Okay, that is not 15,000. Add 3 zeros to this, 15 million, and look at the one one down from there. 11,789,000 properties vacant for over a year. It's right there. This is the 2020 census. You can do all of your research, but the fact is this. The reason I bring this up is because there are so many opportunities. There's so many opportunities. 141 million properties. If it's 6 or 10%, that is like 100. That's 14 million. That's up to 14 million opportunities every single year that we have. Do not fall victim to the mentality that it is oversaturated. Do not fall victim that the deal of a lifetime does not come around once a week, because it absolutely does. All right? There should be so much energy and enthusiasm and optimism about the efforts that you put into your real estate business and growing as a real estate entrepreneur. There are more opportunities than there are us. Go out there. You got this. And that is going to put us right into talking about hedge funds. Hedge funds, hedge funds, hedge funds. Let me explain something to you. You know, when I was starting out, my average deal size was like 6,000. Okay, the 6,000, like 2012, 2013, 2014. It wasn't that much, all right? It was like 6,000 to 10,000, and it took a while, right? And then it bumped up to 18,000, and then it went to 22, 28, 32, and now over $40,000. And part of that is because we are selling to hedge funds. Hedge funds are now. You could Google this. You could look at it. Just to put this simply, imagine a bunch of wealthy people pool their money together and they put a company in charge, a hedge fund in charge of growing that and protecting that money. Imagine that you have $10 million and you want to live your life. You want to do the things. You've pushed really hard. You've saved up. You've invested smart, and you've got $10 million and you want somebody else to manage that. So you put it into a hedge fund where a bunch of other wealthy people put their money into, and then all of a sudden that hedge fund starts putting the money in different areas to protect against inflation, to get appreciation, to build up that fund, to constantly get a nice return. That's what hedge funds do. And recently, as of the downturn, 2008, 2009, 2010, all of a sudden they started making single family houses an asset class. All right. Before, it was like real estate investment trusts that really bought into a bunch of commercial buildings or big time apartment complexes, those type of things, big projects, stadiums, those type of things. Right. But then they go, wait a second, we can go into the single family market because there's a lack of inventory because the economic world crashed. And now there's a surplus of properties out there that we can buy at a discount. Plus, we know at some point the demand is going to go bananas for these things and we're going to get great appreciation. So you see a lot of these hedge funds that manage like pension funds or just really wealthy people's big nest eggs. They start putting it into single family. And because of that, they can pay retail plus on these properties. But I want to make sure that we get rid of all illusions of what they're buying and how they're buying. And I really want to educate you on the nitty gritty. That's why in just a minute, I'm going to bring up Jeremy Thornburg, my disposition manager, who's working with these hedge funds a lot so that you can really get the insider information on what's going on here. But let me first show you how to find these hedge fund buyers through PropStream. All right, we're talking ttpdata.com, ttpdata.com. PropStream, this is the tool that any and all serious real estate investors are using. Either this or Batch Leads. If you're in non-disclosure states, I would highly suggest that you check out BatchLeads.io, and that's with TTP. But if you're in a disclosure state, it makes it really simple here. All right, now I'm going to jump in here. Go ahead, Matt. Let's pop in here. I've already got this. So this is Phoenix. Okay, this is my market here. And I already put the filters in because I don't want to go through this and you're watching me do the check boxes and all this stuff, and it's real boring for a live show here. So I'm going to show you all of the criteria that I have in here. All right, first, you're going to go owner occupied and no. So by the way, as I'm going through this, just write it down. Like I put it like this, just on a piece of paper, filters, owner occupied, no. And then the next ones, right? So then you're going to go to property characteristics, and I want you to go to single family here, all right? Because this is what they're buying. I want single family. And then, and you can see, by the way, all of the filters here if you just want to take a quick little snapshot. And then I'm going to go to the ownership info, and I'm going to go owner type corporate. Okay, make sure that you put that corporate in there. Now, I put 450,000 in our market because we know what their cap is. If you're in a California, if you're in a Seattle, if you're in a Chicago, if you're in a Miami, if you're in Austin, if you're in Boulder or Denver, whatever, you can increase that. They have bigger buying power in those, or bigger prices that they go after, or higher prices. So 450,000 there. And I put number of properties just to really get the people that own a lot of properties to 50 properties. 50. You can go as low as 10 if you're in a smaller market, but I wouldn't go below 10. Would you agree, Jeremy? Yeah? Okay. 10 to 50 there, and this is what we're looking at. And so from there, what you would do is you click this. You add it to your list. I'm not going to do it here because it's boring. You add it to the list, export that list. Once it's in Excel, listen, once it's in Excel, I want you to filter not by the name of the company. I want you to filter by their mailing address. Because these hedge funds buy them in several different LLCs, several different corporations, but they have the same mailing address. So it's really important that you're not overlapping your efforts by calling the same people over and over and over. And you can just talk to them once and get a good idea of what they're looking for. All right. And now you just go through it and you look at these properties and you look for, and I'm going to give you a little bit of, let's see Danbury here. This is great. Okay, here's one here. See this? When you see these type of things going on, this kind of crazy name, that's probably a hedge fund. That's probably a hedge fund. Now, what you want to do here is, and this is really important, I wouldn't directly reach out to the hedge fund. Because what they do is the hedge fund kind of builds a force field around themselves, and that force field is their real estate agents that are their buying agents. Now, some of them go direct to you. They don't mind. But the real estate agents is kind of your first leg into that relationship. And so what I like doing here is I take the address, because if you go on PropStream and you go with the MLS details, it only shows you the listing agent. It doesn't show you the buyer's agent, and that's who you're looking for. You're looking for who is the buyer's agent that is representing the hedge funds. This is what's really going to get you the access to submitting your deals to the hedge funds. And then what I do here is I search Google. And by the way, this is easy in non-disclosure states. In some of the disclosure states, it's tougher. I'm sorry, in some of the non-disclosure states, it's tougher because they don't show you who the agent is. But on these, you can go down to, scroll down on Zillow, and it'll show you listed by and bought by. Look at this. So you can see this is Open Door here. They bought this one. It looks like they flipped it. But you can see this is how you get the buyer's agent info. And what I would do here is just search Google on those buyer's agents, and boom, you get their phone number or their connection or whatever else. This one doesn't have it on Realtor. It's got to be somewhere. I'll find him. This guy's a little bit tougher, but you can find him. You can dig a little bit deeper, probably look in the register. Let me see. There we go. There we go. And then I would probably reach out here to the office and get a hold of them. So there you go. So that's how you find the buyer's agents for it. Now let me bring in Jeremy. Jeremy, come on in. Jeremy, do we have some applause that we can put on this thing? Whoa. Yeah, there we go. He pops out of nowhere. So Jeremy is my disposition manager, and you've been selling to a lot of the hedge funds. Yeah. So what have you learned?
So one thing I've learned is that they'll pay a lot of money for your properties. And that's the number one goal for me. My job is to get the most I can for the properties we get locked up.
Yeah.
I mean, they are only really using the market value, the comps out there, to make sure they're not overpaying.
Right.
They're just evaluating these properties based on the rental income. And so if they just pop it in and whatever their percentage is, they'll pay, you know, an ARV of 420, they might pay 425, 430, or 420, somewhere around there. And so it's going to be tough to beat that price.
Mm-hmm. So do you have to own these properties, or can you wholesale them?
For some, you do.
Okay.
You might have to double close on it. Others will take a certain assignment fee. They'll have it capped at like 21K, 25K. Others, they don't care. They just treat it like a regular wholesale deal. But the negative is that they're slow. They need an inspection.
Like a real inspection.
It's not like a full-on real inspection where they're going to go in there for 4 hours, 3-4 hours. They more send their contractor in there who just kind of does an estimate, because they have caps also
on how much repairs.
On how much repairs.
Right.
So if you have a 2,500 square foot house, it might not need much, but it might not qualify because it came over their threshold of 40K repairs or whatever their threshold is.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a rabbit hole of a lot of criteria. But that's when you're starting that relationship. You really got to talk to them and find it out.
Put up that criteria, Matt, would you? And guys, this is you can take a picture of this, or you can we'll get this up in ttpinsider.com. But this is typically what they're looking at, right?
Yeah, I'd say this is 90% plus of what things that they have that they can't buy or will buy. And there's always a small percentage that will buy with pools. Or if the solar panels, you could take them off the roof and it's already pre-bought, they'll accept it. But that's general rule is anytime you're going to, as an investor, you're going to deduct for the ARV, like, okay, it's on a major road, double yellow line, it's backing commercial. Anytime you're thinking like that, they won't buy it.
Yep. Got it. How is this affecting what properties we go after with lead generation and with Ryan and Chad closing these deals?
For one, it makes any lead a lead. It's like, okay, let me evaluate this.
This is the important part. That's the only reason we're doing the show, for real. Because hedge fund, they're great buyers. They're not the best buyers. They're not the fastest buyers. They're not the I need this deal right now, chomping at the bit type of thing.
Yep.
They need a little bit more time to make sure that they can close on this deal. But once you get past that, you obviously make higher profits on this. But the deals that you didn't think were deals because they didn't make sense number-wise make sense to the hedge funds. So remember, when we're looking at these, what are our cash buyers looking for? Unless you're closing on these deals and flipping them yourselves, if you're going out there and you're just wholesaling to just be the source of these opportunities for other people, then this is phenomenal because it opens it wide open. Remember when everybody puts in 30, 40, 50% equity in your lists to pull the lists to go after those properties? You don't have to do that, right? You can go 10, 15, 20% equity in those deals. You know, it makes the pool of opportunities bigger, right?
Yep. And maybe a seller isn't distressed or motivated, but just wants to sell it.
And they know it's dated.
Yep.
They know it needs some love.
It just needs a little update. You might be able to work them down enough to make it a deal on a hedge fund. So definitely helps us, you know, just any lead could be a lead.
Right.
And, you know, I have made a list, like kind of how you pulled.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just kind of messing with it, see what we can find. 1980 or newer, length of ownership, absentee owner kind of list, and see what we can get out of it.
How did we get our hedge funds?
So, I mean, it started from your investor lift that we kind of invested in this software that helps.
Yep,
you can
investorlift.com. Yep.
Talk more about that.
Yep.
And it automatically gave us like the top buyers in our market.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went from there. I contacted as many people as I could from Investor Lift. I think it gave me maybe 3-4 contacts. If I had a phone number, I'd call them, just introduce myself. Hey, we're a local wholesaler here. We get a lot of properties. What's your buyer criteria? What's your buy box?
Mm-hmm.
And then they would just go over it. And then next time I got something to fit, I would submit a property to them the way that they told me. Sometimes you go on a website. Sometimes you just email them with a certain template. They all have their way, and it's very similar.
Yep.
Very similar, but a little different each person. And
referrals.
And the best way I built this list is talking to other people. You know,
Squatting up, reaching
Squatting
out,
up. Other
being
wholesalers.
loud in the area. People will share them with you. So just ask, post on Instagram, post on Facebook, post wherever. Hey, what agents do you know that are working with hedge funds? I'd love to send them deals. Like not investors, whatever. The agents, because the agents get a percentage, and they're really the filter that most of these hedge funds go through to evaluate if this is a deal or not.
Yeah, agents is the best way because these hedge funds are buying on market.
Yeah.
And they're buying 20 properties a day, the biggest ones.
Yeah.
You know, so they're buying multiple properties every day, and a lot of them are on market. Not all of them are off market. So an agent is most likely going to run into a hedge fund in your area if they're buying.
Awesome. What other advice?
I would say, you know, don't make this your end-all, be-all.
Yeah.
You know, they have a very narrow buy box, and it's shrinking. From the time that I first made the started talking to them maybe 6 months ago, 4 months ago, to now, their buy box is shrinking. Their max buy price is going lower. I think they're getting, as that fund starts to run out of money, I think they're getting a little more strict.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, you know, if you put all of your marbles in this basket, it's going to run out.
Yep.
And you should stick to the normal game plan. And if you happen to get a property that fits their criteria, then submit it to them.
I love putting marbles in baskets.
Yeah, I love marble races.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's it. Rafael Cortez here, guys. As always, here we are. Rafael, what's your experience with hedge funds? Go for it.
Hedge funds. We actually just started tapping into the hedge funds. We have a deal going on with you guys, you were talking about repairs, right? Mm-hmm. The issue coming up is what
max repairs.
Foundation issues we have on that one deal that we're working out in Cali. So yeah, I mean, not making it your end all be all, but making it a really good banana for the basket.
Yeah, it's a
great
tool for the tool belt. Yeah, you know, you don't want that to be the only tool in your tool belt. Like, you know, you want to be like Batman with a lot of tools, and that's the way you're gonna.
So Jeremy, one question: when you're reaching out to these people, like the agents that are representing the hedge funds, what's your conversation with them like? What can somebody out there just kind of pinpoint maybe three 5 bullet points that they can address.
To start off with that relationship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're already calling agents, you're going to be like, hey, my name's Jeremy Thornburg. I'm a local investor here in town, and I'm looking for off-market properties that need a lot of work, need a fast cash deal. You know, you do a normal spiel, and then when you end that or towards the end of it, you go, hey, by the way, have you worked with any hedge funds in the past?
Love it.
Any like major cash buyers? And you can kind of build your relationships that way, because they get a 2.5%, 3.5% commission when they bring a seller to these hedge funds. So
Awesome.
that's their motivation.
Guys, I hope that this is, really bringing a lot of questions bubbling up about this. Jeremy's going to be here to answer some. And then, by the way, if this is your first time to the show, welcome to all of our old friends, our new friends, our young friends. We love you. This show is all about question and answer. The show is about instruction. The show is about celebrating your success. So whatever questions you have, whether it be hedge fund, whether it be just real estate investing, or specifically wholesaling, put them in the comments. The show does not happen without you. We want you to participate and be brave. And if you've been closing deals, we want to ring that victory bell for you. So make sure that you put it in the comments what you've been up to, because we'd love to recognize you. All right? So we're going to crack this thing open. And also, listen, we're going to go for about 15, 20 minutes with Jeremy here. And then this is really exciting, guys. If you don't have this book and you're a real estate entrepreneur, you are missing out, and you're going to be paying a lot of what is called the dumb tax. Okay? Like, this is going to set you on the path. This is absolutely brilliant. Not only that, not only are we going to be talking about this book, but we got David Richter in the house, sitting right over there. He's going to come in right after we get through the questions about hedge funds. We're going to be talking about profit first. We're going to be talking about how to keep the most out of your business so that you can truly replace yourself with wealth, right? You go, you're building your business, you're trading your time and efforts for the value that you're providing the marketplace, and that's how you get your income. And then what do you do with it to make sure that you're creating wealth and buying assets? We're going to be talking about that. It's really exciting. So let's crack this thing open to any questions that you have about hedge funds. There we go. Desiree, how do you get in with the hedge fund companies? So that's it.
I mean, it's more of what I was talking about, you know?
Yep.
Reaching out to agents.
Yep.
Networking, talking to other wholesalers in your neighborhood. Hey, do you have any hedge funds you're working with? And I trade it up a lot of times.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, I got 2 contacts. How many contacts do you got? Oh, you got 2. I'll trade 2 of my hedge funds for your 2 hedge funds.
I love it.
And doing like the prop stream search and skip tracing them, trying to work your way backwards that way.
And then also just post to Facebook, post to Instagram. Who do you know? What agent do you know that works with the hedge funds? Or does anybody have any agents that work with hedge funds? Something like that. You know, word it however you want to word it, but you get the energy behind it. So just ask the question, who's working with hedge funds? What agents do you know that's working with hedge funds? And people will respond and start building a relationship with them. Boom. Will hedge funds buy before renovation? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty much they buy ARV minus repairs. That's pretty much their buy. But like we said, they have a cap, you know, and they're not going to buy a 60,000 K Reno.
Right.
They're going to do, 30, 20. They want it easy and quick.
Renovation, not Reno, Nevada.
Yeah. Reno, Nevada. Biggest little city.
Sydney, do they conduct 4-point inspections or full inspections? I'm wondering if I did this up front, will this expedite the deal? No, it won't. They will send in their own people, Sydney. Great question. It's typically like a walkthrough, and they just kind of get a general bid on what they think that the repairs are going to be. It's not like a formal home inspector going in and giving like a 15, 20, 30-page report on these. They go in and they go, okay, what do we need to do to get this rent ready?
Yep, and it's about 45 minutes or so.
Yeah. Yeah, and most inspections are 2, 3, 4 hours.
Yep. I just went through one, and it was like 4 hours.
Personally.
Personally. Yeah. And the quickest hedge fund that I've worked with that's doing just rentals is 21-day close.
Got it.
Others are 30.
Yep.
You know, they're closing so many properties that it's getting longer and longer and longer.
Sure.
It's just a volume headache for them. Like their title companies they're working with,
Yeah.
they can't close fast. Not because they don't have the cash, because they have to do the inspection and they just have so much volume going on.
Got it. Michael, will they buy property with the tenant in it?
Yes, they will. And
Really?
yeah, they'll give 30 days sometimes of post possession. Some of
Yeah,
these.
but they won't buy. They won't take over a lease.
No.
Right.
No. It's more like, you know, they'll do some post possession.
Right.
They'll give the person
It
30
probably
days to
depends
move
by
out.
market too, because if you're in a market where it's tough to evict a tenant, I mean, it could be a big, long battle and really eat up, you know, some of their time and their profits. So
And it depends on the hedge fund. It's only
Right.
certain percentage.
Yeah.
When I say yes, it's not like they all do it. It's like, you know, a couple of them might do it.
yeah, love it. Sydney, I love this. When you work with an agent, does their commission come out of your assignment fee or does the hedge fund pay it?
It depends again.
Okay.
Some of them, if I'm working through like an agent, like some of these agents, they've designed their business around these hedge funds.
Right.
And they're like, hey, I need my 3% commission. So the way I would tell them, like, hey, what am I going to net on this? Mm-hmm. I want to put apples to apples. When I get an offer from someone from my buyer's list,
Yeah.
it's going to be net. And so I go, okay, what's my net? What's the closing cost, the commissions, and all that? And then I compare them apples to apples. And you know, the hedge funds win 9 times out of 10, but
Yeah.
compare their net.
Right. Love it. So who pays them?
So it comes out of you, really. But if you want to, they'll just move it over on the settlement statement to the other side.
Right.
It's like the purchase contract's going to be what you're going to net.
So you either own it or you have to double close. But you said you could assign it as well. So they're going to take a chunk out of the assignment. So we lock it up for $250. We put it out for $300. They look at that $300 and you go, well, what are we going to net? Are we going to net 50? Or are we going to net, you know,
So if
3%
it was 3%,
less.
it'll be 3% less.
$9,000,
yeah,
right?
If you do it that way, and it's like it's not a one size fits all.
Okay.
Like you're gonna have to double close with this one and still pay the 3%
Right.
at the end. Another, it's gonna be assignment fee, and you can't go more than $20K, and so you know it's gonna be.
So how do you go confidently and have a conversation to understand what is their strategy for this? Do you just ask them?
I just ask them straight up.
What do you ask them?
I say, so they make an offer. Hey, we'll give you $400 for that.
Right.
And I go, okay, does that include any commissions?
Mm-hmm.
Is that any closing costs? Is that
What's the net?
yeah? So I go,
Okay.
well, I just want to know the net.
Yep.
And then they break it down for me.
Awesome. Great question. Will hedge fund companies buy probate properties? And if so, at what stage would they get involved? No, Desiree. No. Nobody will buy a probate property because nobody can buy a probate property because during probate, the owner is deceased. So who's going to sign on it? The reason for a probate process is for the court to make sure that whoever's supposed to be the personal representative to go on title on that property goes on title on that property. So you need to wait till the new person, you need a living person on title. Okay, hey Brent, you cannot put all your deals in the hedge fund basket for sure, but when it hits it, it's gravy for sure. We do quite a bit of hedge funds deals. Well, yeah, Patrick, for sure. I mean, that's it. Mm-hmm. I mean, here's the thing. The beautiful thing about hedge funds is it opens up your lead generation. That's the big part.
More opportunities.
All of those people that want close to retail and the property's not really destroyed, that's opportunity for you. Right? If people need help, can they come to you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So because we've got a bunch of hedge funds around the country, mostly bigger markets, right? They're mostly in bigger
Yep.
markets. So if you're in a smaller market, they're probably not buying there. But if you're in a bigger market, you need some help. In TTP Insider, we've got a little thing that people can get access to you. Because we've been doing it by email, but it's been real whatever.
Yeah, it's like a little spreadsheet you can fill out. You're going to need to require property address, estimated ARV, beds and bath, give us all that information, upload the pictures so we can evaluate it quickly. Like we don't have all the time in the world to kind of look at your property. And if we like it, then we'll let you know, and we'll get a JV deal going.
Listen. Go, Jackie. That's great. So, handsome. Listen, I want you to go out there. I want you to get your own hedge fund buyers. I want you to have those conversations. If you don't want to do that, reach out to Jeremy through TTP Insider, and he can help you move those deals.
And
all right?
and it doesn't have to be a hedge fund type property as well.
Yeah, we've got buyers in the whole country.
Yeah, we got a nationwide list, 3.5 million. So more than happy to look at any deal.
Awesome. But look, guys, I want you to build your own buyers list. I want you to get the most out of every single deal. I want you to go and work with these hedge funds and increase your skills and conversations and relationships in your real estate business. If you just want to focus on lead generation, getting these deals done, and keep going, and you're like a one-person show, and you don't want to get bogged down with all the details and selling it and who to sell it to and negotiating it, we're here for you. There you go.
Definitely.
Boom. Thank you, Jeremy.
All right.
All right. Awesome. What else we got? Let's crack this thing open to anything, and then we're going to bring on David Richter for Profit First right here. It's going to be incredible. And go through what to do with the money that you make and how to not pay the dumb tax. Just got my first virtual deal, 110 below market in Fort Worth. David, come on. First showing of the day. Yes. That is awesome, David. Congratulations. Fantastic. I love the purple tie. That's one of my favorite color of ties. I very rarely wear ties, but when I did, David, it was purple. Yeah. There we go.
I wonder where he's wholesaling from.
Fort Worth, it looks like.
No, that was a virtual deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for catching the, yeah. Let us know where you're at. Hey, Brent, what does your dispo process look like, step 1 through 10? Are you contacting HF before email blasting? Hedge funds before email. Well, Jeremy, come on. You want to talk about, come here. We're not done with you yet.
Star of the show.
Yeah, if it fits the criteria, I am contacting the hedge funds first because they're going to have the highest offer.
Right.
If
it fits in this, and guys, this is a general box. Matt, will you put that back up? This is a general box of what they're looking for. And this is typically, if we run across a deal like this, you're sending these deals to the hedge funds.
Yep, exactly. And it goes even deeper than that sometimes. Sometimes they'll require like a tile roof.
Right.
You know, tile roofs last longer, so it's less of a risk. You know, but if it fits that, I go and start contacting my hedge fund list.
Give me a quick 90-second breakdown of the process when you don't send them to the hedge funds, when we're not selling it to the hedge funds. How do you get our deals sold?
I send my whole list. Mm-hmm. My philosophy is the more eyes on it, the better.
Okay.
So I'll just email blast the whole list, and I'll text maybe 900 of them. It's like more of like a VIP list, I guess you can call it. Okay. And I go from there. Yeah. I start wide and then go small.
Got it. And then, by the way, with that, with our bigger deals, Zinc Home Buyers, if it's a really big deal, we will close that deal immediately, because we don't want any exposure to anybody stopping this deal from going through. Whether that be just somebody that's like, oh, I'm going to go to the seller directly myself, which doesn't really happen too much because we've removed a lot of those people, and those people don't really last that long. But I don't even want to take a chance. And it's not even those guys that get us. It's the real estate agents that know that property that end up really going after the seller and being like, I could sell this for more, I could do this for more, that type of thing. So we've got a lot of real estate agents on our list because they're great for representing our cash buyers. But if it's a big deal, get it closed. I don't care what you have to do. Sell your blood to get the down payment to be able to purchase. Don't really. I'm just kidding. But
hard money loan, something.
You know what I mean? Get a private money loan. I know that almost all of them in the major markets are going 90% at 8% interest rate. It's bananas. Or get transactional funding. Just find that 10, 20% down payment to be able to close that deal, close it, and sell it. It's more of a flip at that point, but you control the whole process. Nobody knows about that deal, and you make sure that it is protected. I can't tell you that enough. More and more, we need to close these deals if they're big. If they're, if they're kind of tighter or whatever else, or there's just not a tremendous amount of interest, there's only a few buyers on it. Typically, it's not gonna, you're not gonna have many issues. But those big deals.
And that brings me to our strategy is based on a volume. We do a lot of deals. So let's say we did like 60 deals and we make 5K more every deal.
People think 60 deals is not that many because
I know,
everybody in this industry does 300 a month or something.
I'm just whatever the amount is.
Yeah.
We can make it easy, 100 deals.
Yeah.
And you make 2K more per deal, that's $200,000.
That's it.
So that's why we do the wide approach first and I send to my whole list. Now, if you're doing like a few deals a year, you might want to protect it from, maybe someone blasting it on Facebook or trying to daisy chain in it and goes to a realtor that knows the buyer.
Yep.
We lose maybe 2 or 3 deals a year that way, but we're only losing 90K, 100K. We're making it up by making that 200K.
Right.
So just wanted to give that tip.
That's awesome.
Brent,
Good.
a common question that everyone keeps asking is where can they find hedge funds in their states?
Where can you find hedge funds in your states?
Yeah.
I just pulled it up. Yeah. So the question is, where can you find hedge funds? You need to go into PropStream, go through that criteria that I just went through, pull that list, export it out, and filter it put it into Excel or into Google Sheets, filter it by mailing address, and then start reaching out to those people. And just Google the addresses and see when they sold. Typically, it went through a real estate agent, and you want to reach out to that real estate agent and have that conversation. There's also, listen, I just bought, there's a hedge fund list that I just bought for the TTP students. That's in TTP Insider. We're kind of going through that now, and Jeremy's going to help verify it as we go through it. But you can literally pull up real estate hedge fund lists, and it's like $160, and it at least gives you where they're at. But I don't. To find out if they're buying in your market, you have to look at the research that you do through PropStream and talk to the agents and find out, or just simply post to your Facebook, Instagram. Does anybody know a real estate agent that works with hedge funds? That's the right verbiage. That was tough to get out earlier. I was stumbling and fumbling all over that. Does anybody know a real estate agent that works with hedge funds? Post it. See what the response is. If there's people negative like, yeah, I wish I knew that too. Good luck, pal. Then, block those.
I'm going to break some hearts here too.
Yeah.
If your market's in Wyoming or some small market, I could pretty much guarantee that you don't have a hedge fund buying in your market.
Right.
It has to be a major market where it makes sense for rental incomes to come and the assets can increase.
Right.
It's not where it's worth $40,000 now and it's going to be worth $50,000 in 20 years.
They have to get appreciation.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It's appreciating markets. There you go. Awesome. Good? Does that help? Awesome. Got my first appointment today. Let's go. I love it, Trey. That is awesome. Listen, lock that deal up. Lock that deal up. 4 properties, TTP. I love it. So he's going on an appointment, and it looks like maybe there's 4 properties involved there. All right, make sure that you discount every single one of those properties. Don't play the game where you give them retail for 1 and retail for 2, and then 3 and 4 are deeply discounted, and you'll make it up in the thing. They all have to be deeply discounted. Don't do this whole package thing. Like, it's a package total at 66%, 50%, or 25% of the after repaired value. Do we have that to pull up real quick? This is just quick math here. Nope. The 66, 55, 50, this one. There you go. Here you go. Remember, if the Zestimate is, and what I would do here is I would take Zestimate, I would take Redfin, and I would take Realtor.com, take all 3, add them up, divide by 3 to get an average, and then if it's above 250,000, you're going to be around 66% for your offer. If it's between 100 and 250, 50%, and if it's at 100,000 or less, 25%, baby. There you go. I think it's time. Right, here we go. Best way to find funding for double close, Adrian. That's great. Google transactional funding. Okay, that's becoming more popular. There's a lot of money that is getting put into these funds to do transactional funding. They will take 2-3% of the deal. They will for 15 minutes of for literally sending in a wire. But it gives you the opportunity to close on the deal. They're going to want to make sure that you already have that deal sold. So have your ducks in a row. Have a nice package. Here's my purchase contract. Here's my comps. Here's the buyer on the other side. Put it to them. Here's the title company's information. Make it easy for them to make a decision. And boom, they give you 100% of the financing. 100%. And what I would do, Adrian, is I want you to go to every meetup group that you can, join all of the Facebook groups that are about real estate investing in your local area, and I want you to reach out and say, who does transactional funding? Who is funding 100%? I've got a phenomenal deal. And then people will respond. All right? And that's how you find it. The other way is raise that 10%. 10-20% within your family, within your crew, and then get a hard money, just a typical hard money loan for the other 80 to 90%. There you go. Awesome. David Richter, come on up. Come here. Come teach us how to be smart about our money. Do we have some applause for him? Are we getting that going? Is that awesome? You can adjust that. Jeremy's a little bit taller than us.
Just a little bit.
There we go. So profit first.
Yes.
Why did you write this, and what's the point?
Sure.
Well, I mean, why even worry about profits?
Because so many people that are listening are the deal makers.
Right.
They go out there, they find the deals. There's a totally different set of skills involved for keeping that money.
Right.
Because so many people, I have so many calls with real estate investors where they're at the point where they start making some money, they start doing some deals, and they're almost crying on the phone because they're not paying themselves.
Right.
They jumped from a W-2 job in a rat race into a bigger real estate rat race.
Right.
And living deal to deal, month to month, and there's a better way. You don't have to live like that.
Well, shouldn't we just constantly be pouring most of it into investing into our business?
I talk about it. That's definitely in this book.
Okay.
A whole chapter on that, because so many people think, oh, I've got to invest everything into the business, or 100% needs to go back and just scale this thing up. But if you're building the bad habits, you're building the habits that are saying that everyone else, the expenses, everything else is more important than me being stable, me providing for my family, me actually taking the money at the end of the day and feeling like that business owner. So
listen, from 2004 to 2017, I was that guy.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I took either in the beginning $2,500 a month to live off of because I was a young man. Then $5,000, then $7,500, and then $10,000. But I was making so much more. But I was like, you know what? I got to keep it in my business account, and I have to be able to do this. But it created terrible habits, because then I would get over my skis. I would go and try to add expenses to my business to try to make it smarter and make more deals happen and to be a real businessman.
Right.
But the fact is, if you are building a wholesaling business, it is a cash machine.
Yep.
This is a cash machine. If you're going out there to source the deals, guys, and you're not keeping the money yourself, this isn't an asset that you're going to sell to somebody. It's not. This is not building a wholesaling business that you're going to sell to somebody. Is not going to happen. I'm telling you right now. So use wholesaling as your ATM, your cash machine, to invest in assets. Whether you want to invest in another business, that's fine. Or if you want to invest in real estate, which most of us do.
Exactly. Because that's it. That so many people get up in that, like, I just got to do the next deal, and they just go to the deal cycle, and it's like, I'm not paying myself. I'm not just taking time to say, am I building this smart? Because so many people want to scale up their business. It's like you're scaling a cancer. It's like you're just going to make the tumor bigger.
Right.
So it's like we got to get a better habits from the very beginning to make sure they're actually keeping that money.
So that is the way so obviously I read Profit First.
Yep.
Then you came out with this, phenomenal. And really it's about what do you want to make, right? What is your goal for your income that you want to take home?
Yep.
and then that's going to help determine. So it's the first you get the income, and then the profit. You determine how much profit, and then that helps you determine how much you can spend in expenses,
Exactly.
which creates discipline in your business.
And I love what you said first. It's figuring out what you need first. It's having the cover. If you have a spouse, you need to be involving them. Like
Yes.
so many real estate investors that I talk with, they're not talking with their spouse about the money because they feel embarrassed. They feel ashamed. They're like, I'm starting to make money. I just had a guy reach out to me. He said, I'm doing my first wholesale deal, going to make $93,000. And I'm like, are you talking with your significant other? Like, do you know what you're going to do with that money? Like, are you stepping back from your W-2? Like, is there security there on the other side? So it's like getting that number first. What do you need? What's going to make your spouse, business partner, significant other feel warm and fuzzy on the inside, so you're not constantly battling with them too. So I love that you brought that up. That's the very first thing.
Well, so we and Matt, can you pull this up, the Millionaire Before 30, the whole process on that? Because I think it's really important, and none of this happens unless you're taking money home.
Right.
All right? Because if you're just keeping it and just like, oh, I'm a marketer. This business is a marketing business. This is what we are. We're marketers. We got to spend more money in marketing. That's when it gets slippery, right, Raph?
100%.
Right? When you
100%.
start getting those big time.
Oh, you'll see it time and time again. I mean, you get a check for $15,000-$20,000, and then you dump 17 you dump 17 back into it, and then you're left with nothing, right? Because you want to grow the business,
Right.
but you have to be conscientious about why you're growing the business, and that's where profit first comes in. I do that religiously.
Well, listen, what we focus on expands, and if you're focusing on how much money am I taking home to my family, how much am I taking home to invest in assets, that expands, and you find ways to find deals that don't require too much. See, what happens is it's very easy to write a check, right? The whole saying, you don't have a problem. If you can write a check for it, you don't have a problem. Right?
That mentality.
Right, that mentality, but there's no discipline to that. That's just, it's gone, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, you make $1 million a year, you take home $100,000 a year. I mean, I know people in this business that have $3 million businesses that take home 10%, which is $300,000, split between partners. Okay,
Yep.
and I'm having dinner with them at a nice restaurant, and I know that server at that restaurant is making more than these guys are in their $3 million business.
Yeah. I
All the time, right?
All the time. I have conversations like that. I have conversations with little millionaire business owners doing $3, $4, $5 million, and they're not even taking 10% home.
Right.
Like, they haven't even figured that out. They're like taking 50, 60, like the bare minimum of what they just need to survive. And it's because they built it up to that. Like, if they would have started with some good habits at the front, then we could have scaled into more profitability. Because if you can't pay yourself at this level, you don't have a business. Like, because you're not Snapchat, you're not Facebook, you're not going to have this venture capital money just float you for years until you're a billionaire.
Right.
You have to build that in. You have to build in what's called margin. What is that safety net? That margin around your business, like the margin on a piece of paper of profitability, making sure that a lot of that is going towards you, your family at the beginning, and then making sure that you're scaling up, that you have that profitability from day 1 to day 1,000 when you're doing 1,000 deals a month.
Love it. This is what we have for the Millionaire Before 30 blueprint. This is really anybody, but first you do a deal.
Yes.
First, you got to do a deal. First, you have to listen. Like, you need to, first of all, like, there's no backup plan as a real estate entrepreneur. The only thing that you should fall back on is your faith. Your faith that you could do this. You know what I mean? Like, fail forward, get going, start taking action, and don't have a backup plan. If you have a backup plan, you're going to always slide into that. Have faith that you can do this business, and then once you do your first deal, you don't need it. Now it turns into fact. Now it turns into fact, and then you can start replacing your income and go full-time in the business. It's hard to replace your income, go full-time in the business if you're not taking the money home.
Exactly, because I see that. I started out in real estate investing and have done a ton of deals, and one of the first things I saw, we scaled that business up to about 30 deals a month, and the owner was making way less than like 50% of the team.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't taking it home. He wasn't taking it, he didn't build that margin in, and it's like I've seen it at those big levels, and I've seen it there where you have that blueprint, do a deal from that first deal, like, I just made $12,000. I'm going to pour all $12,000 back into marketing. And it's like, oh, you just started your own rat race. Just a worse one than your W-2 job if you still have that.
Because you got all the pressure.
Exactly.
You can't turn it off.
Right.
You can't.
Exactly.
You can't just all of a sudden go home from work and you're like, oh, well, I'll just put on my dad hat now and my husband hat or my chillin' hat or my video game hat and just forget all about this business.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. None of our brains work that way. That's why we're entrepreneurs, right? So why have the mentality? Why act like an employee when you have an entrepreneur brain? That's the problem that I always had.
Yep.
It was a fight that I always had. I always thought I was investing into the business with this thing. And then I switched it. I said, you know what? I want a minimum every single month of $40,000 to my family every single month. And at the time, it was only, I was taking home like 10. So I started making that goal for 40,000. Guess what happens? You hit your goal.
Right. There you go.
What you focus on expands.
It does. Yep.
You know what I mean? You don't get what you want, you get what you attract, okay? So really, that's what it is. If you're looking for that 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 grand a month, that's what you build towards.
Yep. So there's a formula. We love formulas, right? In real estate investing. So Profit First introduces that. We've all been introduced to a formula that keeps us in that rat race. And that formula is sales minus expenses equals profit, meaning I make a sale, I do that wholesale deal, I pay all my expenses, and hopefully at the end of the day, at the end of the year, whatever, I have profit and I can go home and celebrate. But so many people don't do that because, like you said, it's so easy to write that check. So easy to do the expenses first. And so sales minus expenses equals profit puts the focus on those expenses. So once you have those expenses, you know that that's the first thing you're always thinking about is, I got to pay these bills, I got to pay these, like whatever it might be. The Profit First formula puts the emphasis on the right thing. It's sales minus profit equals expenses, meaning I make a sale, I take my profit off the table, I take my profit first, and then what I have left over is the expenses to grow the business. It's placing the emphasis on the right thing. You didn't get into business not to be profitable. You didn't start a nonprofit or you wouldn't be watching the show. You started a wholesaling company or whatnot to actually do deals and make a lot of money. You're going to make a lot of money in real estate. You watch good people like Brent and these great people that are on this show, they're going to help you make that money. You're going to go out there and get the 4 properties that are deeply discounted. You're going to go out on those appointments, but you need to make sure that you make that money, that you're working just as hard to keep that money too and actually be profitable. So that's where sales minus that formula is the magic formula for keeping the money once you actually make it, because you have to have the sales.
Because once your attention.
Can they see it? Can you see it on the other screen, or is David's
My
face in
head.
the way?
There you
There
go.
we go.
Once your attention is on the profit and not on the expenses, this goes up.
Yeah.
What you focus on expands. Right?
Yeah.
Said it like 15 times. I love saying it. It's one of my favorite things, right? But sales minus profit equals how much you can spend. And once you have this is also called discipline. Whatever, however you spell that. Somewhere. C. Discipline. Discipline. I don't know. I use spell check. Discipline. You guys get it. There you go. 11-10 on my SATs. Whatever. Here we go. Yeah, that's it. I love it. I love it. Let's open this up to the 2 questions, and then David is on Steve Trang's Disruptors podcast live today at 1 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So make sure you tune into that. He's going to really, really deep dive. I look for that book on Audible. Will it be available soon or ever?
Yes. So I did record it on Audible.
You yourself?
Myself.
How was that?
I did. That was an awesome process. We scheduled 3 days to do it. I knocked it out in 1 day because I'm like, I just want to get this done, get this out there. But yes, as a real estate investor, I know that there needs to be an Audible book. So that's coming out by the end of March. So the end of this quarter, it will be on Audible. Right now it's on Kindle and it's on the print book on Amazon.
There you go. Awesome. What else? What percentage should we set aside for expenses when beginning wholesaling?
This is great because this is what our company does. Because we go in there and we say, what is your situation? Because for you, do you have a W-2 job? Do you not have a W-2 job? Do you have, are you more focused on growing the asset side of the business, or where is your focus and attention? For youth. So that's where I would say when you first start out because the other thing about Profit First is not just the mindset and that formula. There's practical steps too.
Yeah.
There's actual practical steps to keep the money in a simple system. So read the book, get the system, and follow that system, but she's talking about the percentages because there's different bank accounts, different buckets that you put this money in. And so what are those percentages for those different buckets or accounts? And I will say, two of those accounts, three of those accounts, I would say, is for the owner. Profit account, the owner's compensation account, and the owner's tax. I would say no matter where you are, even if you have a W-2 and this is your side hustle, wholesaling's your side hustle, and you're like ramping up into, leaving your W-2 or whatnot, I would always, even if you don't need the money right now, put some percentage points towards profit, towards owner's pay, and towards taxes. So that way you have the tax money there at the end of the year.
Love it.
So I would at least start getting, because the whole system is about the habits that you're building, not necessarily of like, what is the exact percentage I need to be at? It's more like, what are the habits I'm building now? If you're just starting out in wholesaling, your expense percentage might be a little bit bigger because you need to spend the marketing, you need to go out there and get the deals, or maybe not. Maybe for you, you're just going to drive for dollars, or you're just going to do
proactive people here.
Exactly.
They go out and hunt.
If you go out there and hunt, you might not need as many as expenses at the very beginning. That's why I'm like, what is your specific situation? Because if you're like trying to build a rental portfolio, that's totally different than the wholesale game.
Right.
So if you're doing that, you could probably start off reasonably at like 30% expenses, and a lot of the rest of that money going towards you to get you out of that W-2 job as fast as humanly possible. Because once your owner's compensation bucket, once that starts filling up consistently on what you need first, that's your first indicator of, I know I can leave soon. I know that I'm getting these consistent deals, and it's time to go full time in real estate investing. So there, I would say conservatively start at 30%, like if you're just starting out, but if you, it depends on your situation, but just start putting percentages towards the buckets that are benefits for you.
Listen, if you've never done a deal and you build in this model, you start understanding and looking at what profit you want to actually take home. I'm telling you, that's the right foundation. That's where you start. It doesn't matter if you're like, well, this is kind of like, well, I'm just trying to get my first deal. I just found out about wholesaling. I don't know what's going on. But if you understand that once you go down this path, and you start talking to people, and you start generating leads, and then you convert those leads, and then you sell that deal, and you make that income, all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh, if there's not a plan in place, that's when it starts slipping through your fingers, and I don't want that to happen. I'm glad you're here. I love the energy. I love it. You were fun. Yeah.
Because so many people if there's a 2008 crash again and people have the system in place, you'll be buying the deals.
That's it.
You'll be buying the deals that everyone else is picking over because they went out of business. Like this can save you then. This could save your family now. Like this whole thing is you're going to make the money, but you've got to keep the money. That's the whole other side of it. It's like, there's a simple system. In this book, I don't talk about P&Ls, balance sheets, like all this accounting jargon. I hate the accounting jargon, and I run a fractional CFO company, but I hate it because you as a business owner don't care about that. You care about the money that's going into your pocket at the end of the day, and that your family, that yourself, that the people you care about are taken care of. That's what this book is about. It's about that mindset, breaking through some of those barriers and setting up a simple system for yourself. I love what you said too, because you said, start this at the beginning, because I have the Profit First REI podcast, and we interviewed Pace Morby, which you're good friends with, and have him on do collaborations. And he said, if I would have started this process at the very beginning, I would have $5 million more in my bank account right now. And he said that 2 years ago when I interviewed him the first time on that, and we've implemented even more inside of his companies to be able to have the Profit First mentality and the system. And it was just, this is why I'm so passionate, Brent, because at the beginning, if you just start from your first deal, if you're doing your first deal and you have a system like this, you will have so much more money in 5 months, 6 months, a year, 10 years, if you just started right now.
That's it. It's all about the halo and the cold call, brother. That's right. That's right. I love it. Listen, figure out, first of all, get this. This has got to be one in your library. Has to be. And number two is figure out, what do you want to take home? What's the goal? Because people have business goals and they're like, I want $1 million business. That means nothing. Right. Let me explain something. That means nothing. everybody that's real goes, what's the net? And then everybody goes, oh, I have a 78% net. And then you ask 2 or 3 more questions, and it's really a 7% net.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, so just figure out what your net is that you want to bring home, what income you want to take home. That's the number. Raf.
Quick question. This is something that just kind of popped into my head. But do you recommend going off of percentages or actual amounts when you're figuring out the profit part?
So
And
we
this is for
always
both of
say
you.
we always say percentages because that's scalable. Because if you're at $100,000 this year and you took home 50%, that's great. But next year, what if you do $1 million business? Like you just explode. You listen to all this great advice.
Yep.
You get the right people around you, and you go from 100,000 to $1 million. We've seen that happen.
Yep.
We've seen people go from the low 6 figures to the 7-figure place. And if you are on percentages, then you can adjust those percentages with where you are in your business. If you're doing dollar amounts, that's a great place to start. The whole point of the system is to start. If I could say anything right now, if you listen to this, and I'll give you one step, one action step from this thing. If you go out, open one new bank account, call it profit, and transfer 1% of all your deals. Like if you just get into the habit of starting this process, I promise you, you'll look back on this episode a year from now and say, I'm so glad I started this because I have more money in my accounts, my business accounts, than I ever thought humanly possible because I started this good habit back then. So I would start it with percentages, but if you have to start somewhere, I don't care if you just start with a dollar amount, because the whole point is to start the habit of making every deal, every transaction, every single month profitable.
Berg, what were you saying back there to Raf?
Oh, I was
Oh,
just
nothing.
saying, yeah, Pace probably needed that.
Love it, absolutely. Any questions for David? He has to get going here soon. He's got to get over to Steve Trang's. But any other questions? We good? Good. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Awesome.
That was
Killed
great.
it, brother. That was great.
Profit first, guys. There you go. Boom. Fantastic. Raf, where are you going? You're speaking somewhere.
Yeah, I'm flying out to Texas. I'm gonna be in Texas.
Can we get
Dallas.
the camera on him? There we go.
Yeah, I'm flying out into Dallas.
What are you speaking at? Give us
It's,
some details.
The real estate meetup, it's called. It's in the Fort Worth area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm headed.
Nice.
I gotta.
What are you
go
gonna
a
talk
little
about?
Early. Business models. I mean, why it's important to get out of the hustle mentality into the business processes and thinking like an entrepreneur as opposed to a hustler. So
I love it.
yeah,
I
setting
love
that
it.
down. So it's
That's
gonna be
great.
a fun. It's gonna be a fun event.
Jeremy just crawled across the floor here for no reason. The camera's on Raphael, but he just does what Alejandro wants him to. So there you
That's
go.
what he does. That's what it is.
There you go. All right, let's crack this up. I need to ring this bell some more. I need somebody that's got some celebrations this week, all right? Just starting out, how can we contact you or your team to assist with the assignment and or closing? So in ttpinsider.com, there is a link there. Do we know the name of it? Because it's literally just went live yesterday. JV deals or disposition deals on TTP Insider. Just play around in there, and that'll give you direct access to Jeremy. Jeremy at Offer Arizona is what a lot of people have been connecting with. So if you have something that's fast that you need something, Jeremy at Offer Arizona. But it's a little bit easier for him to organize everything in that form so that he gets all the information that he needs. But yeah, we'd love to work with you. How many leads should we honestly be following up on when we are just a one-woman shop? Lots of technology out there. What is the best and most simple to start working with? Well, it just depends. There's a big difference between the addresses, the potential leads, and actual leads. A lead is somebody that you've spoken with and pre-qualified based on the 4 pillars of pre-qualifying, which is the condition of the property, their timeline to sell, their motivation, and their price. Do we have a graphic for that anymore? I feel like we do, but it might be buried. Let's just pop that up every once in a while, just so that everybody can take a little screenshot of that. But condition, timeline, motivation, price, that's a lead when you pre-qualify. You want to get as many of those pillars as early in the process as possible so you know if they're willing to work with. But listen, you could work with one great lead that'll close this week. right? If you look at how many leads it takes to get a deal in your business, and it's different for everybody, but let's just say it takes 20 leads. You have 20 leads in there to get one deal, okay? And you want to do a deal a week. Remember, you're not replacing, I sold that deal. I got that lead under contract. I just need another lead to replace that. No, you need 20 leads in your pipeline to replace one deal that you close. So just remember that. Just remember how many leads. So it starts with how many addresses, and then how many contacts. From contacts, how many people want to sell. How many people can you pre-qualify? And from those, how many will do business with you? And so those are the metrics that you want to look for and work with. All right? Year-long probate deal about to close Friday. $50K plus assignment Sacramento deal from Zinc Home Buyers. Boom. $50K. That in the business is what we like to call a massive deal. 50K plus, massive deal. Welcome to the 50K club. There you go, Zinc. All right. There we go. That's awesome. Yeah, zinc's great.
Maybe that's why it's massive.
Yeah,
All that zinc.
All that zinc.
Yeah.
You know, they give you that for COVID, right? Yeah. They say take your zinc. Terry Utter, what's the best way to do wholesale deals virtually? Just lock them up and sell them. You know, no, I mean, obviously here, don't overthink it, Terry. Right? You start with going after your distressed property list. Right? Have a quality conversation with them. Get them into your lead follow-up. You're pre-qualifying them. You're following up with the leads, and then you lock them up. And then at that point, you're going to want, I highly suggest that you find a boots-on-the-ground real estate agent that you have a conversation with that goes something like this. All day, I go out there and I am calling people and talking to them about selling their property. I'm trying to find people that I can buy their property off market. Now, a lot of these people, you know, they want to sell, but they want retail value. I can't give them the retail value. Can I refer these leads to you? In exchange, you work with me, and on the deals where I need somebody to go out and get the contract signed or show buyers or get pictures, then you could go out there and do that for me in exchange for giving you all of these leads, right? And if you have a license, you can get a referral fee for those leads. But if you don't, it could just be one of those, you know, you're squatting up and providing a ton of value for somebody else, which always comes back to you. Always comes back to you. There you go. The Level Up team, I like that. Cool logo. Out of the 100 corporate buyers in Dallas market, I was able to get 12 actual phone numbers using PropStream. How do I contact the rest? You want to go through their agents. Dig a little deeper. You know, yeah. Huh? 12's good. Yeah, 12's good. Well, that's actual phone numbers. He still has to reach out and have conversations with them. So reach out, but really, literally just post, guys. Post everywhere about who knows an agent that works with the hedge funds. I'm looking for a real estate agent that works with hedge funds. Post. And then just start getting in and start posting that everywhere. Start posting that into the groups. Start asking that question in meetups. You're going to have real estate agents that go to the meetups, that go to the RIAs, that go to all of these things. RIA, for anybody that doesn't know, is a real estate investor association. They're a group that does these meetups around town. And then Bigger Pockets has a ton of meetups. All of those. Go to those and just start making connections with people. And then you get one, you get another, you get one or two, and then you trade them or whatever else. If people want to get value, or you go, hey, listen, I've got 2 hedge fund buyers. I'd love to share it with anybody else that has other hedge fund buyers. If you don't, send your deals to me. No, that's what you say, not me. You know what I mean? There you go. Ralph, closed yesterday, was originally locked up to sell wholesale, but mortgage came back higher. So switching to listing and double-sided the commission. Nice. So you're listing and already got paid on the double-side commission. There we go. That's a bell ring. I'll tell you that.
See, that's a beautiful thing about being first in line when you come across deals. You pick and choose what you want to do with them.
That's it.
You can't beat that.
That's it.
Can't beat that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good work, Ralph. I love your name, by the way. The best name ever.
Ralph?
Yeah.
Ralph Pena?
Ralph, yeah.
Yeah. It's just a name you like. I get it. Hi, Brent. I have an issue. I've been using PropStream for a while and wanted to skip trace using batch skip tracing, but I'm in the UK and they don't accept my card, only USA. What can I do? Do you know, Raf? Do you know, David? How to get a payment? You know what? I'll tell you what.
PayPal?
Did they take PayPal? They gotta take something. Will you, Aaron? Will you get somebody from Batch that's in? Ask them the question on how they process UK billing. And if anybody else is on here, let us know. We'll get to the bottom of it.
We are on a mission.
Guilherme? Is that how you pronounce it? On virtual deals, how are you able to offer property without knowing the true conditions of the property? Shouldn't you walk through the property first? You can make a lot of assumptions. You can look at the Google Maps and get a pretty good idea of the outside of the property to kind of get an idea of the inside of the property. Also, you can use this fix and flip repair cost, which, by the way, add 10K to all this. Just add 10K. Add 10K to each one of these guys in this market. We'll adjust this and get it in. But this is kind of normal conditions. But because supply chain and labor costs are up, I would just buffer it a little bit more. So add 10K to all of these, and that'll give you a good idea. Really, there's three filters. This is an easy rehab. This needs some work. It needs a little bit more work. You know, there's wear and tear in this. And then there's, wow, this is bad. This smells like somebody smoked 7 million cigarettes in here, which they might have done. Or there's like, you know, a zoo inside the house. So there you go.
One thing that we also do, Brent, is if we have absolutely no idea what it looks like. We still want to just create a budget. Remember, you're creating that budget not to give an accurate, rehab amount. You just want to create a ballpark and a base for you to come in and then present that offer. So at least work in $15 a square foot, $20 a square foot, depending the market. And that's going to create that cushion and give you some room for to work the price if you have to, Desiree.
Awesome. Martin, wholesaler here, getting licensed soon. How can I maximize the license as a wholesaler? That's fantastic. First of all, you get access to the MLS, which if you're in a non-disclosure state is gold. If you're in a non-disclosure state, you need to get your license because it's at some point, because it's going to really help you out to have access to the MLS and see what's actually going on with the sales, with the pendings, with with what is happening in the neighborhoods that you're finding deals. Two, any of the retail deals. I mean, you could list them yourself and get paid. I think it's a huge distraction. I would rather you refer those to somebody in your market and get 30%. There's some wholesalers that make an extra $1 million gross profit off of just referrals because they do so much marketing, have so many old dead leads, are reviving them, giving it to real estate agents and making a fortune passively. All right. So you can send those all out there and make sure that, refer those deals out and stay focused or list them yourself. So that's your big ones. And the other thing is, Martin, you're going to just feel a lot more confident reaching out to real estate agents to get extra deals because you'll be like, hey, I'm Martin with Remax, or I'm Martin with whatever, Century 21 or Long Realty or whatever it is. And they're like, oh, okay, you're one of me. And then all of a sudden, they're talking to you. So it kind of greases the wheels a little bit. A lot from Desiree. I think you got like
She's on it.
Yeah. How do you locate a reliable title escrow company in California that is good with closing these wholesale deals? Join a fix and flip real estate investing group in your area on Facebook and post. I'm looking for the best title and escrow officer in California that does wholesale and flip deals, and then see how they respond. Justin, just sent off my first contract to be signed. All right, get it signed. I would sent off. I don't love it. Right? I'd love for you to either present it in person or do a Zoom call where they sign it while you're on, if it's a digital signature, just so that it's done as a professional courtesy. I'd like to jump on a Zoom call with you, review the purchase agreement, and then get it done, answer any questions that you have. That way you don't send it and then you're white-knuckling all day like, oh, I hope they sign. Oh, man. You know, but if it's a done deal, let us know. Hopefully in the next 45 minutes they sign and you can post it, and we'll ring that bell for you, brother. Keeping up with Lee. All right. Should we bring the contract to the appointment or get the contract signed before the appointment? Well, listen, if you can get the contract signed before the appointment, you are amazing. Most have to go on the appointment to get it signed because people want to know who they're doing business with, but maybe not. So if you can get it signed before, anytime you can get the contract signed, get the contract signed. But most of the time, it's going to be on the appointment. So, yeah, absolutely. You should not go on you should not get in your car for the rest of your life without a contract in your car. Okay? Ever. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, if you're going on any appointments, if you're going to go see a seller, have a contract. I would just have, like buy yourself, like, a nice little binder, a nice little zip thing with the paperwork in it, and just keep it in your car. You know what I mean? Just keep it around at all times so that at any time you're ready to go. But I like having it filled out. I like going there with the contract. I like going through the contract, signing it first, turning it around, and saying, there you go, just sign right there. Boom. Brent, do you offer all the different types of wholesaling contracts? No. Yeah, I do. Not sub 2, but double close. Well, you don't. Double close is not double close. It's just a regular purchase contract and assignment. We have the purchase contract and assignment in ttpinsider.com, and that is free. But when it comes to the sub 2 paperwork, you'll want to find or follow Pace Morby on that. But what I will say is, if you are getting into real estate and this is your first year in real estate, you need to focus on ugly houses and big checks. Ugly houses, big checks. Build the machine that sources all of these exciting opportunities. Because if you try to do all of them, if you try to do wholesale and fix and flip and sub 2 and creative financing and all these other things in your first year, you will do way less, 80, 90% less deals because you'll be unfocused and you'll be all over the place. So build this first, the foundation. Can we pull that up, Matt? The foundation and all the other different silos, all the different things that you can do. Man, you're quick today. You are just on fire, bro. You are great. Right here. Listen, the bottom here. Discounted properties, wholesaling. That's all wholesaling is. People think wholesaling is assigning the contract. No. Wholesaling is sourcing real estate opportunities. Finding discounted properties is the ground that you develop your other businesses off of. Then you get into fix and flip and rental portfolio and development and being the bank and coaching and mentorship once you're at that place in your life. But it starts with finding the discounted properties. I think that's probably our most cheery picture that we do here, I think. Great job, Alejandra. So there you go. So build your business off of finding the deals first. In your first deal, focus on that. There you go. Oh, Charles, closing a deal Friday, 15K payday, trade the wave. Whoa. Also locked up a deal. Locked down a deal yesterday. Should be 40K in 21 days in a 40-day window. Trey here, Charles Richardson, I'm just reading Trey the Wave, is going to close $55,000. What should he do with those profits? Right. Yeah. Right? Keep the money. Congratulations. We celebrate you. That's fantastic.
Boom. There's massive stuff going on left and right.
Stuff. Every week, bro. Yeah. Every week. I love ringing that bell, and Mac's like, what the heck? Mac goes crazy. He's our mascot, by the way. Quick question. What about a hedge fund for commercial real estate in apartment buildings? Yeah, we don't go. See, here's the thing, EK, and something that I've really been. I'm getting more into learning about development and the companies that develop. I'm not going to do it. I'll invest in the companies that do it, but it takes so much longer than you think. It takes a year, 18 months. I had a conversation with an incredible student this morning that was looking at this big land deal, and I was like, great, you're not going to get paid for minimum 6 months, more likely 18 months on these deals because it takes an incredible amount of due diligence. So, and that's with land, with commercial real estate and apartment buildings, it takes a lot longer. They do buy them. Most of the time it's in real estate investment trusts. Some of the hedge funds do it. Just reach out to them and see if they're doing it. Or reach out to the commercial brokers in your area and ask them. If you run across something, EK, and you could lock it up and it's a discounted property and it's commercial or apartment, you're not going to have any problem selling that deal. You're just not. You can just you could just Google multifamily syndications and then just call them and just see what they're up to and where they're buying and all those things, right? You can reach out to anybody that's connected with you on Instagram or Facebook and that does commercial, or go on to LinkedIn and reach out to anybody that's in LinkedIn. So you can do all those things and get those sold. Do you need earnest money for a contract to be valid in Louisiana? I don't know. Can somebody Google that? Yeah. Do you need consideration? It's called consideration for a valid, not required, according to Google. You could easily talk to a escrow company or a closing attorney. Jason Lamb, when is a good time to consider accounting for financial statements to keep your business operating? All right, I need you in here. I need you. Come on. Yep. Okay, here we go. When is it a good time to consider accounting for financial statements to keep your business operating efficiently?
The first hire that you make should be an admin/bookkeeper. Start taking the stuff off of your plate that you don't like to do, unless you're one of the just like 1% that likes the accounting or whatnot. But you should hire that piece out as soon as possible. First with a good bookkeeper and like CPA too, to file the taxes and whatnot. But that's something where you at least want to have the numbers, because the numbers give you that data. They give you they tell you which problems are going to spring up in your business. That's the whole point of the financial statements. It's not to look pretty, to look awesome, to go to a mastermind and say, look what I'm doing, and you have your financial statements there. It's to give you the points of where can I be most effective and efficient in my business, and what are the dials I need to turn, where are the problems. So I would hire that as soon as possible. And when you first start out, you're probably going to be spending just minimal stuff, like a couple $100 a month, and just bookkeeping or whatnot to keep up with this. But it will return spades to you in the long run, because it's going to tell you where your problems are.
Spades.
Love it. There you go.
Thank you. All right. I need you here every week.
Full time.
Andrew, I am generating leads, having a hard time getting sellers to accept my offers. My offers are low, apparently. Frustrating. Yeah, that's part of the deal. So remember, when you talk to 200 people, only one of them are going to do business on average. So you're going to get 180 people flat out reject you. 19 people are going to tell you your offer's too low, and one will accept it. So stay in the pocket. Stay in there. And remember, Andrew, pull the price out of them as much as possible. All right. And if you're in a major market and these properties are in decent condition, but they're willing to take some sort of a discount, maybe it's a hedge fund. Maybe it's a hedge fund that you want to work with. So reach out, build up the agents in your area that work with hedge funds, and you could send it to them to see if they're interested, or you can work with Jeremy on ttbinsider.com on JV deals. There you go. George Ross. Brent, I have a deal working on. There's a squatter living in the property. Seller has a family attorney for decades, and I cannot circumvent him. Don't try. He wants $1,500 in eviction. How do I handle this? Thanks. Pay the $1,500. I mean, listen, if you're working, well, here's the thing: your buyer will pay the $1,500. All right. So I don't know what the seller's family, why the seller's family attorney hasn't already started the eviction process. I mean, it doesn't seem like if you have a family attorney, well, first of all, let's see if it's really a family attorney or if it's just a family member or if it's just like a neighbor or something. Who knows? Let's see if they actually pay this person. But if they're paying this person, that means that they've got some sort of financial stability. If they got financial stability, why are they letting a squatter in their house? Like, I love these stories, right? It's like mystery and intrigue. So what's going on there? What's really, really going on there? $1,500 for eviction is nothing. In some markets, it's triple, 4 times that. And how do you handle this? So, I would, first of all, I would get that deal at a discount to where you can sell that to the cash buyer and they inherit that eviction process. It happens all the time. Jeremy, any thoughts?
I'm thinking for a squatter, maybe cash for keys.
Yep.
This person, lives for free rent. So if you give him some money to get out of there, he might get out of there for $500. You might save some money. Cash for keys.
Come on up, Robert, my man. All right, so we have a question on here it is. We have a
Okay, this is
an
from
awesome
Wilhelm.
investor out of the UK.
Okay.
He's trying to get batch leads, but he doesn't have an American credit card. How does he pay for it?
Well, good thing for us that isn't an issue. I just spoke with the support team, so I think I'm saying it right. Gilherme. All you should be able to do is make sure you're using your correct zip code, and you should be allowed to pretty much enter in the same address, pretty much everything you would do like as you would over here in the US, but just enter in your information for UK and you should be good to go. If not, feel free to take down my information or you can reach out to Batch. My email is robert@batchservice.com and I'll be able to help you out. But yeah, you should have no issues or anything like that.
And he will help you out. He literally has his headphones on all day, as you can see. So he's ready to rock. I mean, these are the good ones. These are the good ones.
Yeah, so just feel free to take down my email, and if you need help, let me know. But you should have no issues just using your UK credit card or whatever you're using.
Awesome.
Cool, man.
Thank you, brother. What a show. Look at this. What a show. All this interaction. A lot of action. Yep, got that one. We did that one. Yep.
You did the squatter one?
Yep.
We don't have any more questions.
No more questions. All right. So here we go. We've got 30 more minutes. So Berg, average deal size. Where are we at right now?
Well, I haven't got an update since that 100. This year, our average deal size is we did a 122K land deal.
Yep.
And 93K that Buckeye home we sold to Hedge Fund. So we're averaging.
That's bumping up our average.
Yeah, that's our
Well, we
average.
have some smaller ones sprinkled
So
in there.
I would guess if you take out like any JV deals, any referrals like that, I'd say we're 45K average deal in the last 12 months or so.
Okay. Love it. And what do you think? Do you think it's market? Do you think it's hedge funds? Do you think it's on average? How many offers are you getting per deal?
It depends on the area, but like we had a Sedona lot. There were just beautiful views, and I probably could have gotten 15, 20 offers on that if I just had sat there for maybe a week on it.
Just averages.
Yeah, so I'd say average, 7, 8 offers.
How many people are reaching out to you on a daily basis to review deals, to either help dispo them or JV or whatever it is?
It's about 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Just a handful, emailing me or texting me. A couple just become like, every deal they're close to, they'll contact me, and it almost becomes like having other acquisition managers out there.
Yeah.
Because I'm providing a service, helping them, from step one to the end of the deal, because they're just starting to learn the game.
So what? It's mostly people that need some help dispoing it. you're walking them through the process, helping us sell these deals to get more than they would if they just posted it on like Facebook Marketplace or something.
Yep. Yeah. So, they might have 25 buyers, they're just started. And when they post it on Facebook or Craigslist and send it out to their 25 buyers, they might get, 10, 15, 20K less. Sometimes they just need to be educated. Like, hey, we need to close on this ASAP. You got this 150K deal that you don't know you're sitting on. You need and we'll help them with funds, or we'll help them close on that because they're going to get 50 calls called to that seller, and they might lose the deal. So sometimes it's a lot of work, but hey, it's what you give, you get back, and I really help some of these guys. It's like I'm their personal coach sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Awesome. How do you calculate an offer when buying a rental and selling to a buy and hold holder? Jason Harris. Love it. Well, it depends on a couple different things, right? So it depends on price point, Jason. And just put in the comments where you are doing business. Because if it's a cash flow, there's two different types of markets, and everybody should understand this. There's an appreciation market, and then there's a cash flow market, right? The cash flow market is you're in an area where they've got decent economy, but it's not really growing. It's kind of been the same, and so there's not an incredible demand. Remember, the pricing of houses have to do with ready, willing, and able buyers. And this is important just to understand for all of us. The market doesn't determine the value. An appraisal doesn't determine the value. A real estate agent doesn't determine it. A seller doesn't determine it. The only thing that determines what something is worth is a ready, willing, and able buyer. Right? So if you're in an area where there's more people moving into and it's expanding, the demand is going to go up, prices are going to go up. So if you're in a major market and you're looking to sell rentals to somebody, but your area is growing, it's very difficult. It doesn't make sense. I mean, some people will buy it like hedge funds for the long term because they're buying all these things cash. They get the rental coming in, so they get income there, and then they also take advantage of appreciation and depreciation. Appreciation on obviously the value, depreciation on them writing off this asset. They get to depreciate the asset. Anyway, if you're in a cash flow market, then you have to see, okay, what is the percent that people are looking to buy? Is it 1%? Is it 2%? Is it 3%? What I mean is, if it is 1%, if you have a $100,000 property, once it's fixed up, it's looking great, somebody's living in it, $100,000, they want to get $1,000 at least a month for that property. Now, some areas it's 2, 3, 4% because these properties are $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So when you're looking at these, one, you got to determine how much repairs need to be in there. That still matters. People still want to get equity in these properties. So I would, as a rule of thumb, you want to walk in with, $10,000 worth of equity at least. Okay, so just run your numbers off of that. Take 6% off the top for closing costs. Right? So if it's 100,000 times it by 0.94 to take that 6%, and then 10,000 for profits minus the repairs, and you should be pretty good. The only other thing, Jason, that you can do, which kind of gets a little bit sticky, is you can reach out to all of the turnkey rental companies in the market and see what they're buying, where they're buying, and target those properties if you want to go after rental properties for people to buy these, to build up their portfolio. Because turnkey rental buyers, they go in, they fix it up, they put a tenant into it, and then they sell it for whatever they want to some silly dentist out of whatever, Boise or, right? I mean, that's what they do. They sell it to these people all around. We have more questions. I'm just pulling this out because we don't have questions. All right, there you go, Jason. There we go. Once a signed contract goes to the title company, on average, how long does it take for a deal to finalize, assuming no issues? Well, listen, you could close. It depends on the title company, but you could close in a week. You could close in 2 weeks. I mean, typically, the title company can do their job and get their title report back in 3, 4. What do you think? A week, Jeremy? Is that fair?
Yeah.
A week right now. It used to be a couple days, but things are just slower. So a week, and then you could close it. It just depends on what date you put on the on your purchase agreement.
And cash versus hard money as well.
Yeah, cash versus hard money.
Hard money takes 3-4 days longer for
Love
that private lender to get all the documents in and all that.
Yeah. Yep, 1 ton. Brent, what are your plans if the market goes crapola? I am going to quadruple 10 times my worth, brother. Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I mean, listen, people have been asking me this question since 2012. So, it's going to crash. There's too much. The market's going up too much. We're in a boom. We're not in a bubble for real estate. Is there some, with inflation and with interest rates going up? I mean, are we going to go to war with Russia? All this stuff is silly stuff. Like, it's not silly in a universal sense, but in our business and our day-to-day life, we still have to go out there and have quality conversations with distressed property owners. So that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And then if it does, then all this cash I've been saving up is going to go to work. How long is the due diligence for a land deal typically on average in Southern California? Land takes a bit longer just to make sure, a lot of it depends, AO. If you do a lot of the work up front and have a direct line to the zoning department in your area, your city, and you have a conversation with them and you say, I'm going to be selling this thing and my buyers might call you to verify what you can do with this lot. Do you mind if I just direct them to you? Like, build that relationship with the zoning so that any due diligence that buyer wants to have, whether what's the building envelope, what utilities are going there, all of those things, if you can put together before you blast it out, that'll really help out. What am I missing, Berg? I
mean, that's what I do. I just call planning and zoning, and I ask the right questions, and I kind of just.
What's the right questions?
I always start with, hey, I'm thinking about buying this property. What can I do with this? What can I build on it? What does this zoning mean? And then I just let them talk, and I just take notes. Like, it could be a 1 acre property, but it might be zoned for one unit every 6,000 square feet. So then I'm gonna be like, okay, how many units can I fit on here? That's 7 units. Is it plausible to put those 7 units? Like, what's the access, the road access? Is this slope of the lot gonna affect building on it? Anything you think can affect the building on that property? Or any way you can upsell it. What's the value add? Like, people might have thought you only could build 1 unit on it. So find out how many units you can build on it, because selling it a piece of land that you can do 4 units on, it's going to net a lot more money than just a single family.
Oh, yeah.
Just probably missing a lot, but, is it a flood zone? Just find out what can you build on it and go from there.
Yeah, can you just ask, what can be built on this?
Yep, that's what I start.
And that's
every
the start?
time.
Yeah.
I say, what can I do with this lot? What's the zoning tell you? What?
So if you do a lot of the legwork up front, that'll really help you out to shorten that timeline. Awesome. Will you be any live speaking events in California anytime soon? I don't think so. This is kind of my live speaking. Going to events really screws with my whole family, and happy wife, happy life, and kids. Kids are crazy. I'm in a season right now where being around the kids when they're young is real important, and so traveling is difficult. and it screws with everything. So I try to do as much of this as possible. Love to see people out and about. Love being on stage. Love doing all that. Did it pre-COVID a lot every month, and after COVID, it's just that's why we built this whole thing so that I can come to you as opposed to that. Yeah. Competent property. Jason Harris, of course. Texas. Texas is just. You want to help me out with this, Berg? This is great. 5516. And guys, I'm in PropStream here. Van Natta. Can I get some more details on it, Jason?
How many beds, baths, square footage, year built?
So, yeah, okay. I'm good here. Oh, I like this. Look at this, Berg. This is great. Nothing like an aerial shot where there's just a bunch of junk in the backyard. I love it. That looks good. Exterior doesn't look terrible, but, you know, the bars in the window aren't the most inviting.
Curb appeal.
Interesting. Yeah, curb appeal's a little bit rough here, so we get an idea. So we're in Fort Worth. We're also backing to some apartments, it looks like here. Let's verify that. I always like looking at the aerial. I always want to see what's going on in this area if I'm not familiar with it. But it looks like probably some multifamily that's either getting renovated or no, it's just multifamily. All right. So interesting. It does take it down a little bit, right, Berg?
Mm-hmm.
They just, backing up to, apartments. There's always, some shenanigans going on.
And it's a 3-1 as well. Whenever you have
It's
that
a 3-1.
one bathroom, it's going to be a decent deduction.
Yeah. So I'm just looking here. Let's see if we get any love from the active and the pendings. They'll do their best with the sold, but the solds are just estimates, right? Let's go to the date. Let's get the most up to date. Look at this, though, Berg. All right, we got a 3-1, 1,200 square feet, showing estimate at 208, which is interesting. We got a 232.32, 900 square feet. Let's see where this is at. Let's make sure that we're close here. Let's see what's happening with the neighborhood here. If anybody knows how to get it back to like this 1 through whatever, please let me know because it drives me crazy. And once you start comping,
What
and
if
it's
you
all
get that
over the
little
place.
house? What happens?
Huh?
Nothing.
So you got some decent comps. I like the 110. That's right in the ballpark. Let me see what this 208 looks like. Because it was recent. Close this out. That's not it. Close that out too. There we go. Oh, this looks nice though. Oh, maybe.
How
Okay.
far away was that?
Yeah, it's a bit out of the way. Okay. Let me go back to this. There we go. That's how you do it. 181. This is 186 estimate 3-1 right there by it. Okay.
Wait, I think you're in the wrong house. You're on that comp.
Am I?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Bad. There we are. All right, let's go to here, and then let's go to here and see if that resets us. There we go. We got a pending right here, number 3 at 120. Okay, which is right here, right? 2 streets up. Boom, boom. 120. So this is 120 on the market. That's why I don't like that 110 necessarily, because if it needs some work and this guy's going for 120, what do you think, Berg? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, if you're comparing to what's on the market and it's apples to apples condition,
What do you need to be at?
Wholesale property has to be discounted below what's on the MLS usually by a decent amount. You might be able to get 110, 105, and people will be happy because they can go in the market and just buy that 120.
Spending. Yeah.
So I would say, based on that, I would say a little bit discounted from that 120 is what you're going to sell it at.
A little bit discounted from 120.
Yeah.
So 110 he can make something on. We like it better at 90 or 100.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But you got some nice ones here. Let's look at number 4 here, just down the street, kitty corner right here, 209. It's a 3.2. No, let's go. Well, here's 168 estimate. Who knows if that's right? I think he's got something there at 110. You know what I'm saying? I think
What's that one for?
Yeah, I mean 195's close. The one bath is really crushing you. I don't see any one bath. This is the only one, that 203 estimate. That it has one bath. The rest of these have 2 baths. One bath really throws things off, guys. Like really throws things off. You got 1,000 square feet pending at 120. It's a 2-1. Went really fast. Yeah, I like it. See if you can get them at 100, Jason. Yeah. I think you could probably, if it really went that fast, hold on, let me just check this real quick. If it really went in one day, that tells you that it probably got bid up from that, right? Because they had multiple offers. Let's see if Zillow tells us the same. No, it says time on Zillow 119 days. All right, so that makes it a bit different. But it is a foreclosure. So, yeah, I like it. I would get it at 100. Sell it at 115, 120. It's a 1 bath, though. So, the lower the better. Awesome. Cold calling Christian. There he is. Closed on the cash for Keys deal I texted you about. Thanks, Brent. That's a bell ring right there. Come on.
That's a good name, Cold Calling Christian.
Yeah. He's phenomenal. Just built his business over the last few years, doing absolutely incredible. He's doing it part-time, replaced his job, got into it full-time, and has rocket shoes on. So, awesome. What's a good wholesale formula for multi-unit? I saw a 5-unit complex sell for nearly $1 million over retail in Costa Mesa, California. Yeah, Isaiah, usually when that happens, that is a package deal, and they record 3 or 4 different properties under the same one, and you see something sell for something that's bananas. But to get a really good gauge on multifamily, not really 5-unit, but the bigger ones, you can go on loopnet.com. loopnet.com. Also, you want to look at what's the income that they're receiving from it, right? Whenever it's multifamily, how much are they getting for rent versus the price in the area? Is it a play for, obviously in Costa Mesa, appreciation and depreciation? So, yeah, you could play around. A good wholesaling formula is find out how much the rent is for. Look at what are similar things selling for in the area. I always like using comps for the stuff that's under, 10 units or 12 units. I like to see what's available. What other 5 units are out here? What are they on the market for? What are they selling for? Typically, they'll just list it on the MLS. Sometimes they'll sell it with a commercial, but typically not. Any thoughts, Berg?
One other way to do it, if you can't find comps, is knowing what the buyers out there are paying in cap rate.
Yeah.
So, like, oh, these buyers are paying 5. Have conversations with your buyers list. Like, hey, if I get a multifamily, what are you looking for? And they're like, oh, I want 5% cap rate. It used to be like 10% cap rate. Now these cap rates are going crazy, and they're buying like 4, 5, 3% cap rate. But find out in your market what these buyers are paying in cap rate, so then when you talk to these sellers, find out their rents. And you can look it up, Google it up, and it's kind of a math problem. You work backwards from the rents, and you can figure out the cap rate and what your offer price could be.
Awesome. Hi, Brent. Once a wholesaler has the property contract signed, how does the wholesale approach their buyer list? What do you send out to get your cash buyers to make an offer? You send out, hopefully you have your email or you have your their phone number. If you're just starting out, Desiree, get on the phone and call all of them and send them the details in a text. Address, link to the photos, price that you want, and send it to them. What do you think, Berg?
Yeah, you just blast it out to your buyers. I mean,
What does that mean?
so I get this. I have a template that I enter in like property information. I use suggested starting price, not a asking price, on my blast. So I do that because it's a softer way to approach the buyer when he like, hey, I'm giving you your price, and you're like, no, that's just my suggested price.
Yeah.
It could end up higher, could end up lower. Give me your highest and best. It's just a way to kind of manage these aggressive buyers that are, try to bully you a little bit.
Okay.
So I start suggested starting price. I have all the details about the property. I usually skip the ARV because, hey, I want them to do their own due diligence. They might come up with a 20K higher ARV than I had, and so their offer will be higher. But if I really need to sell it, like I'm thinking we're tight on this deal, then I'll try to find the best comps, and I'll throw that on there too. Really trying to get them to up their offer and sell them that it's a good deal.
Got it. Boom. Jack, what do you do when there aren't any nearby comps because the property is in the middle of nowhere, basically? You need to call a real estate agent in that area, or you need to look at the assessor's value of it and go use the same criteria. I mean, just get really low with the prices, because here's the thing. If there's no comps, there's no buyers. First of all, Jack Stu, don't even go for those unless you're going to close them yourself and keep them, which is fine, or you're going to do a flip on them, which is fine. But if there's no comps, there's no buyers. Get out of that area. If it's one of those things where you call somebody up and you're in Houston, you're like, hey, I wanted to see if you would consider an offer on this property, and they're like, no, and you're like, oh, do you have any others? And they're like, yeah, I do. It's in Gun Barrel, Texas, right? Which I just found out was a place. And you're like, well, okay. And you start looking around, and there's no comps, and it's middle of nowhere, and it's a big lot. It's tough to sell those. So focus on the areas where buyers want to be. Okay? Got a few more questions. We got about 6 minutes left. So just like, yeah, we'll comp one more. Connecticut. Okay. 106 Colelo Avenue. It's a total rehab in need of heavy repairs. Seller is asking $290. Let's take a look. 106, guys, we're in PropStream, ttpdata.com. Colelo Avenue.
Commented saying they had buyers for Gun Barrel, Texas.
There we go. There you go. Yeah. Maybe a bad analogy. I apologize. So this is a vacant lot. No, we got a house there. Look at this thing. Holy cow. Okay.
Above ground pool.
Okay. Above ground pool, looking great. This is owned by a company, bro. I wouldn't have you U.S. Realty LLC. You think they're going to sell at a discount, Berg?
Most likely not.
Right. Why?
Because they're savvy.
Yes.
They know what the value of the house is.
You need two things in this. You need equity and you need motivation. So you've got the comp right here. Literally sold 8. Next door sold for 300. This is 1560. Lot size similar. Let's take a look. Look at this. Probably 2. Okay, this one has a bigger lot, but I don't care. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to build something on it? You're going to do whatever, right? So I like that it has a big lot, but it's what do you think when somebody sends in a big lot that's in a neighborhood like this, Berg?
I think it doesn't add that much value. It
Yes.
depends if like he had an anchor lot in a major market like Phoenix or Dallas, it's going to be a huge difference in price.
Yep.
And it's not an apples to apples comp.
Mm-hmm.
But in like more Midwestern or Midwest markets, you know, everyone has land and it's not going to be as big as a change.
Right. And what can you do with this? You know what I mean? Like,
And what does that acreage mean? Is
like
it,
you're next
is it
door to the
trees?
Riverview
Yeah.
restaurant, though. That's cool. I like that. But he's asking retail. So offer him 66% of that and see what they say. Yeah.
This one's interesting. It's a two-part,
Two-parter.
but it's a
Comp, okay. Hey, Brent, I have a seller who wants to sell but is worried about paying a capital gains tax. What do you say to overcome this other than 1031 exchange? Well, you say, do you want to pay it now or later?
This is a comp.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't avoid tax. That's how people lose all their stuff. You know what I mean? So a couple things. What is their motivation? If their motivation is high to get rid of the property, then they're going to have to do it. If you are convincing people to sell their property, you're talking to the wrong leads. I'll just say that. And I'm not saying that to be like harsh or whatever. I'm just saying that to like focus on the people that you're not like, oh yeah, well let me be your financial planner for you. You're not a financial planner. You're somebody out there that's looking to find these properties and do something special with them, whether yourself or give them to somebody that's going to fix them up and renovate them and put a family in there, put somebody in there, get a renter in there, whatever. Our job is not to be the financial planners for these people and be like, oh, yeah, well, you could do this. The only other thing that you could do, Dylan, is you could do a seller financing where you trickle it over to them, trickle the profits to them over time. So you would lock it up, give them a down payment, which, you know, shouldn't be heavily taxed, and you do seller financing on this thing where they become the bank for a long period of time. That's the typical default to I don't want to pay a bunch in tax. But if their worry is they don't want to pay a bunch of tax, are they really that motivated? I don't want to pay money that I don't currently have, is basically what they're saying. So just think about that as you're doing it. Here you go. 14251 63rd Street. And this is a manufactured home with an attached four-car garage. Man, people are getting wild in Clearwater. Let's go. Oh, look at this. Yeah. Okay. Party animal. Harold is a wild guy. Okay. So we've got this thing going on here. How much does he want?
He doesn't say.
So that's the
Let me ask.
house. And there's the garage. Okay, got it. Great. Great. Comps. ttpdata.com. These are all condos. We don't want condos. We want multifamily. I mean, we want manufactured. Is it here or in property type? No. What does it have? It mobile homes. Where is it? Did you guys see it? Oh, whatever. I'll do it by this. Here we go. We got a few mobile homes. 85, 167, 164. Okay. In the area. Let's see what the neighbors are saying. I like this neighbors button a lot. Let's see. A lot of condos, mobile homes. 74. This one's much smaller. Much smaller at 62. That was a while ago. Property type. And Berg, when you're going after a mobile home, can you comp it versus anything but a mobile home?
Nope, we have to say mobile home.
Right. And what is the cutoff for financing for mobile homes?
1976.
Woo! So what happens if it was built before 1976?
It has to be a cash deal.
Love it. because they can't get conventional financing, bank
can't get
financing. This
financing.
was built in 1981, so that's fine. We've got 3.2. It's got a 4-car garage. I don't know how much you add onto that. Add $20K in value. You've got this guy at 164. Let's take a look at this beauty. All right.
Nice.
There you
Love
go. What would you add for the garage? More than 20? Less than 20?
For acquisition side, I like to put on the conservative hat,
Yep.
and I would add 10.
10. Okay, good.
But on the dispo side, I would add 20.
Right.
Because I switch. You want to switch hats when you're acquiring. You want to be like conservative, trying to get it as low as you can, and then once you get it under contract, switch your hat, and then now try to sell it for as much as you can, and try to sell like, hey, I got has a 4-car garage. This is 20 plus added to ARV.
Yeah. I would go with 175. We'll just take this one that's in good shape, pretty similar condition, maybe 180, 175 to 180 ARV, and work backwards. All right? Good. And that's it. Awesome show, guys. Action-packed. David Richter. Don't forget, this is a staple in your library. Everybody come on up. Let's say goodbye to everybody. We'll see you next week. Well, we'll see you tomorrow. Millionaire Before 30 show with Ryan Zolan. And here we go. On behalf of Jeremy, Aaron, Matt, and, of course, Alejandra, we say we love you guys. Remember, keep your house clean. Protect your health and increase your value to the world, and you will live a fantastic life. I love you. See you soon.